All right, it's currently 38 degrees outside, and I shaved since last time I did this. Look like a goddamn mole rat. You know, those, well, I don't know if they're mole rats, whatever, those naked cats. But I didn't do this last week. Work's been kicking my ass. But more life reflections. Just hit a month sober yesterday, I guess, you know. And it's crazy, man. It is whoopsie, sorry about that. It's really crazy, dude. It's cold as balls out here. It's 38 degrees, but it feels like 0. But definitely being sober makes you a lot more reflective. Like, you know, you start thinking about shit. Like lately, I haven't been thinking too much because I generally haven't had time because I'm just slammed with work. And it's not like I work from home and I have to do a bunch of like studies and stuff. So you know, it's been crazy to say the least with my workload, but nonetheless, I've been, you know, the brain still cranks when it wants to crank, and definitely spirituality helps just be better. Like, it helps the brain work a little bit, man. Like, I've always thought that, like, oh, you know, I remember when I was younger, I was happier and more confident and more just, you know, the, I guess, quote unquote example of a good kid. Like, but like, you know, I always thought it was just because I was a kid, you know, you're just a kid. But I was going through some shit as a kid. And I always blamed the alcohol because I was like, well, I became an adult. And that's when I started really drinking a lot. And that's probably what struck me down, and that was my downfall. And, you know, now that I quit drinking, what I guess what had worked for me in the past is just like spirituality, man. Like, you ain't even gotta be religious like that, bro. Like, the reason why I got away from religion in high school, so I had been like, you know, when I think I was in middle school, I had even been an altar boy. Before that, like in Mexico and here in the US too. I had in Mexico and in the US, I had gone to like church school. Like, I was Catholic, you know, I was raised Catholic. I had gone to Bible school, I'm sorry, not church school. Yeah, Bible school on the weekends or like during the week, like at night or stuff like that, you know. And I just keeps you closer to God, but like, it's not even like God, like Jesus Christ. And today, I actually was watching some stuff, listening to some stuff while I was working, and it clicked, dude. There's so many religions, and we got all these different gods, because just to briefly summarize this, at the end of the day, God lives in your fucking heart. Like, and it doesn't have to be like Allah or like Jesus Christ or like, what's another god? Fucking Zeus, or, you know, insert God name from X religion here. It's literally God resides like in your heart, man. Because think about it. Like, let's say you're Catholic, right, or Christian. You know, we're all made to God's image, right? And then Jesus Christ was like flesh and a human and stuff, you know. So if God created everything, that means he had to have created you, meaning you have a piece of him inside of you, you know. Like, you're some way, shape, or form a piece of God. And in my opinion, you kind of have to believe that you have that inside of you. But I never said, hear me out though, I never said like, oh, Jesus Christ, you know, like his father, if you will, like that God is the God that lives inside of you. I'm talking about like, I feel like that's why I've always had that hunch See, as a kid, it was a young adult, I guess. Yeah, as a like kid, as a young adult, and even as an adult now, that hunch hasn't really gone away. And I think it's because it may be true, dude. Like, God somehow, some way had some children, and all these children are like, you know, God, like Jesus Christ God, you know, like the Christian God. You know, when I was growing up, they're saying, oh, you know, God doesn't punish, God only loves. And that's true. The God, you know, like actual God. If you go by what the Christian church and Catholic church people, not even the priest, bro, you don't even talk to the priest or anybody like that. Like, but they might spill the same stuff to you. They'll tell you, oh, God doesn't punish, he only loves. But bro, the book of Genesis, which is like where Adam and Eve are and all that shit, literally says they ate from the fruit of that tree, and motherfucker kicked them out. He kicked them out of paradise. That's punishment. That sounds like punishment, bro. He literally lied to them too. He's like, if you eat from this tree, you're gonna die. They didn't die. You know what I'm saying? So he lied to them too, I guess. So he lied and he punished. So that, and see, that just like proved my goddamn hunch of like, yeah, definitely he's a God, but not the God, you know. Like, his creator is a real God, and that God is just in the background, bro. That God is the one that gave you free will, you know. And if that God gave you free will, he's not gonna interfere with your daily life, bro. He gave you free will so you can do whatever the fuck it is with your life. You can be good or bad. And remember, good or bad doesn't have to be, oh, I'm gonna be a murderer or I'm gonna be a police officer. You know, that's not necessarily what it means. It's all about your potential, man. Like, it's all about framing, I guess. You know, that's how you get ahead in life. Like, I just learned a bar right now. That show is so good to hear. What do they say? Something along the lines of expectations are step one to resentment, or something like that. And I was like, holy shit, dude, that makes sense to me, bro. Like, whenever you have an expectation and you meet your expectation, you're like, hell yeah, dude. Like, I did the thing, you know. I did it, you know. I fucking took a shit properly, you know. I was able to aim my dick in the hole in the fucking toilet, you know. I had an expectation of asking this really cute girl out, and she said yes. But what if things go south? You have these expectations of asking that cute girl out. She said no. What if you try to aim your fucking dick when you're taking a piss and you miss? You know, like, for whatever reason, you know, we're assuming here. And then you're gonna be let down, bro. You're gonna resent yourself. You're gonna have some sort of resentment. And the more expectations you have, the less serenity you'll have. And I feel like the world is full of online media of, yeah, dude, like, stopping that sentence real quick. I just think the world is full of so many great things, but because of the internet, you deny yourself of like those great things. You look at, like, for example, it's fucking what, 2025 right now, I guess? Yeah, it's 2025 right now. And about like 2-3 years ago, right after COVID, this dude, as a man, you've had to see him online. Like, he was just everywhere online. His name was Andrew Tate, and he would spit out so much shit that made sense. You know, it generally made sense. You're just like, oh wow, yeah, like, of course as a dude, like, you have to be strong. Of course as a dude, you have to take care of your family and be a provider. Like, yeah, those are just like stereotypical things that have been passed down through all of human civilization, you know? But there's also the opposite side of all the crazy stuff that this guy was saying, because that wasn't all the stuff that he was saying. He was like, yeah, you have to be a provider and you have to make 6 figures and be 6 foot tall or whatever the fuck, all these crazy expectations. Which, I mean, I'm three grand away from 6 figures solidly before my bonus every year, which I'm really thankful for. I had to get a career for that, and it's been a grind, dude. Career sucks. I've been working for these past 2 weeks. Like, I wake up, I work. I haven't had time to spend with my kids or my lady or anything, bro. It sucks. But anyways, all these crazy expectations that all these other people try to shine on other people because that's how they view the world. But then you try to frame those things to your life and they don't work out, and it enrages you. But those are goals that you see like as a hero would be able to meet this criteria like nothing, you know, that type of shit. And then you're just cooked. You're just left holding an empty bag and you get enraged. And those are the kinds of ideas that like really go viral because they're easy to understand and easy to get people angry, instead of like spirituality, bro. To do the right thing, to look for whatever is inside of you. And that thing doesn't have to be God for everybody, but for me, the way I've been able to understand life is just that's God inside of you, bro. God wants you to see the light. God wants you to do good for yourself. But that starts with just accepting your situation, accepting who you are, accepting where you are. And again, remember how I said good and bad? He gives you the choice of choosing. You can choose to do something positive, like, well, I don't make a lot of money, so I'm angry. Well, what are you gonna do? Are you just gonna not get a job? Okay, you have a job, but you're not making a lot of money. Every company, especially in the modern day, especially if you don't work for like a really, really small company. Take a piss out here. Yeah, especially if you're not working for like a Fortune 500 company or some shit like that. No, if you are working for a Fortune 500 company or something like that, that's great. Like a Walmart or like a, is that Fortune 500? I would guess so, or like Amazon or something like that. Dude, all these companies always have ways for you to move up the ladder. All you gotta do is ask upper management, hey, like, I'm a warehouse employee. What's the pathway to like becoming a supervisor? Or hey, does this company provide tuition assistance so I can go to school and get a good degree? I'm not just fuck with student loans. And usually those companies will tell you, yeah, dude, if you pass your classes, we'll give you some tuition reimbursement. You pull out loans and then you get reimbursed for all your shit. Yeah, you pull out loans. And then at the end of the quarter, when you pass all your classes, they'll give you a check because you passed all your classes. And that's one way to do it. Like, that's at the end of the quarter or semester or whatever, you're going to pay back those loans that you pulled because the company literally gives you money. Like they do like tuition reimbursement. That's what it's called in a lot of companies. Like a lot of companies have that, dude. Especially like companies that work with technology. And just find ways, like find jobs in that industry that you're working at. And guess what? You're going to have to be at that low level position for like a year or two. But you also have to try. You have to try to shine. And unfortunately, you have to kiss a little bit of ass. You have to like literally make friends, like with the, you don't have to be like buddy, like, oh, let's go grab a beer on the weekend, or let's go eat on the weekend or something. But you can literally just be work friends, if you will, with people. Like be friendly and cordial with these people. Guess how like all these like people that work like at a university or something get into be like the dean of students, the dean of faculty, the dean of the buildings, the dean of engineering. Why do they gotta be so many deans for fucking one school? What are they doing? So much paperwork, bro. I actually found out those statistics. That shit's crazy. Like management, middle management is so insane. And why is there so many? because all those middle management know so many people, and it's kind of a big circle jerk, dude. You gotta buddy with people, and they'll open positions, and then they'll give you the positions, or like, things like that. Like when you're buddy with those type of people, depending on how much credentials you have. And a lot of the times, like, you don't have the credentials and you're just nice to people, they'll tell you, hey, dude, you can follow these steps, and you can get to this career position. I've done that I'm an engineer myself. And I've told people, but people don't last more than a year, like working a lower end job. Like, I'm like, dude, you can do this, and this, and then they'll reimburse you. And then after 4 years, you'll have your degree, and you don't even have to stay with this company. You can go somewhere else and get a better salary and blah, blah, blah. I lay out the groundwork, but people don't want to wait 5 years. Like, dude, I had to fucking give up from my 18 to 22 years of life, going to college and working a part-time job and basically getting no sleep every fucking day. On the weekends, I was able to get a little bit of sleep, but then I'd pick up like extra hours on the weekend, so kind of counteracted. But anywho, there's always a way. And that's what I mean by God gave you free choice, and he is the one that told you without telling you. You have the right to choose between good and evil. And again, it doesn't have to be, oh, good is policeman and bad is murderer type shit. No, it can be like, how are you spending your time? Are you spending your time in a good fashion? What is good? That is up to every individual ever, what good and bad means, man. Like, for me right now, my good time spent, as much as I hate to say it, is working, because I had to leave for paternity leave for a month, so I kind of fell a month behind on this project. And I've been spending a lot of my free time just working. I'm a salaried employee, and I have a house and a mortgage, and unfortunately I'm under that stressor of like, hey, if I don't work, I can lose my fucking job and lose my mortgage, and now my family doesn't have a fucking house to be in, boohoo, big problem guy over here. But that's why I'm like classifying that shit as a good, like, time investment, if you will, to spend your time wisely just working. But like, for me, realistically, if I didn't have this work stressor, I'd be studying right now. Another thing I don't want to have to do for this license I have to get, and I pushed my exam out to, it should have been like next week, I think, my exam, or this week, I'm sorry, but I pushed it out to January because I haven't had time and I've been behind. But if I didn't have those two things, my work or my studying, I'd probably be working out, because I think that's a good thing, instead of just sitting around. But some people like sitting around. Some people label that as good because, hey, when I sit around, I can read a book or I can watch a movie. And that's your own personal definition of what good and bad is, man. But you have to literally just like pull yourself up and really sit down and gain some spiritual insight within yourself, and really ask your own light inside of you, like, not yourself, because the ego is you, and your ego will tell you to do things that are not right. You just have to find a quote unquote higher power. It doesn't have to be God. It can be whatever. It could be a rock that you value. It could be the moon. That's a rock that a lot of people worship. And the more you think about what good and bad is, you'll find that answer for sure. And if you really stuck, ask others. Ask other people, hey, what can I do to improve X in my life? And really follow that plan out, dude. It just takes time to become something. And that's it, dude. Like, for example, I went from 250 pounds to 230 pounds right now in the stretch of like it's been kind of, it was, like fluctuating back and forth a lot between 230, 240, 230, 240. But I've been solidly at 230 right now. And my goal is to like get to 200 pounds, dude. Like, I'm trying to get to 190 if I can, but 200 is my next goal. And it just takes time, and I'm not putting in that time right now. So I'm not working towards that goal right now because I'm not working out or running as much as I would want to. But that time's coming for me. Hopefully after I get this fucking big job done, I can go to a regular work schedule and have more time in my day to work out and study and do my job and be with my family all in one day, but it's just about how you spend your time. But don't have any expectations. Just set goals and try to meet those goals with every action that you have, but don't have any expectations, because that's where you're going to kill yourself and demoralize yourself, and you're going to be like, fuck, dude, what's the point if I can't literally try to achieve serenity and calmness in your mind. Talk to somebody about your problems if you can. And if money's a problem, dude, there's always help. There's always government help. Why do you pay taxes out of your paycheck? Literally call the city council and be like, hey, I'm struggling with this. Do you have any resources? Live outside of the internet a little bit, because I feel like as young kids ourselves and like living in the 21st century, I think technically it is, living after COVID, after 2020, you hammer that shit so much in your head that like the internet is the only thing that's like out there in the world and that you can find things through and all that stuff. But nah, bro, literally call your city council, ask them for resources, ask them how you can get help, ask them if you're not able to make ends meet, hey, can I get housing assistance? Is that a thing I can do? Or food assistance, or whatever kind of assistance you need, dude. Bill assistance, like they'll help you pay your light bill. Like there's so many things you can do to try to get that help, dude. You just have to reach out to others. Like, you gotta remember, I don't know how I got in this far, but I was able to do a lot of things on my own, but not everything, dude. Like, yeah, I was able to get to college and get a good job straight out of college, and make decent money to have a house. But I didn't do it on my own, man. As much as I'd like to tell myself, well, all the time you spent at school and working was on your own. But I had my girlfriend, I had my mom, and whether they were there present physically or not, they were two people that just helped me, dude. And you can't do it by yourself. You have to find that spirituality, and you find that light that'll help you keep going, man. And sometimes, honestly, if you're not ready to give in and look inside of you, then you're just not ready, man. If you want to keep going down that path of destruction, again, you have the free will of doing that, of literally destroying your life, of not trying as much as you can at all these crazy things. But if you're already, just look inside of you and listen to yourself, talk to somebody, find your inner light, and don't expect too much of yourself, because you're going to hate your life if you do.